Hi, I'm Dr. Evelyn Orenbuch. I am a veterinarian. I'm board certified in sports medicine and rehabilitation, and I am not in Hawaii, although I love this background, right? Thank goodness for Zoom being able to do this because the background in the room I'm sitting in Georgia, is not as cool as that. So anyway, don't be too distracted by the beautiful waves. I just want to tell you my story about LifeVantage and Protandim and how I got involved and why I think it's such a great product. So I started working in the rehabilitation field in about 2003. So I've been doing this for a while. I moved to Georgia in 2009 and opened up Georgia Veterinary Rehabilitation Fitness and Pain Management. It's also called GVR. It was a standalone rehabilitation facility, the only one standalone in Georgia and the largest one. We focus on dogs who have had surgery, a lot of knee surgeries, dogs who have had neurologic problems, a lot of dogs that have back slip discs in their back, and so they become paralyzed, or they've had strokes or things like that. A lot of older dogs, just plain old dogs with arthritis. We're a pain management facility, so we see lots of just older dogs with arthritis. And I see a lot of sports dogs too. So dogs who do agility or who do field trials or those kinds of things. So I see a lot of those guys just for maintenance mostly. And then of course for injury. So the story here is that about 5 years ago, in about 2015, a friend of mine who was at the time the head of the emergency medicine department at the large specialty clinic near us heard me talking to another colleague. We were at a business meeting together, and I was saying that I was looking for a supplement to help my sports dogs specifically with their injuries. And I had heard that increasing their SOD is superoxide dismutase, and it's a very, very potent antioxidant in the body. And when you have more of it, it helps with injury, it helps with recovery and things like that. Somebody in the field that I respect quite a bit had said to me, you should really get these dogs on SOD. So I was mentioning this to a friend, and I was saying, do you use it? Where do you get it from? That kind of thing. And my friend, Jean, leaned over and said, hey, if you're interested in that, you need to hear about Protandim, because Protandim will increase the own body's SOD. So I was like, I don't know, really? I've never heard of this. And so long story short, it took me a little while. I tried the product myself. I tried the product Protandim Nrf2 on my dog, who at the time was an older dog with really bad arthritis. She had been hit by a car when she was young, which is why I got her in the first place. And she was limping a lot. And so I was at the time, I'm a bit of an athlete, and at the time I was actually getting ready for a big competition in Hawaii, similar to what you see behind me. And the competition was a paddling competition. I compete in outrigger. And so I'm very good at short distance stuff, but this was going to be a long distance race. It was going to be 3 to 3.5 hours of just paddling as hard as you possibly could for 3.5 hours. So I had already started doing some training for that, and we were getting together with this team that I was in, and that was right about the time that I started taking Protandim Nrf2. And I was taking it for about 6 weeks. I didn't really feel much of a difference. I was kind of like, well, is this working? Is it not? But I was already in really good shape. I really felt good. I didn't feel like I needed this, but I thought, well, if I'm going to try this, if I'm going to use it for my patients, I want to try it for myself, right? So for about 6 weeks, I stopped taking it. And I said, well, let me just stop taking it for about 2 weeks and see what I think. I was off of it for about 3 days, and I went out to a practice. And in the outrigger boat, there's 6 people, and one person usually calls out what we call the huts, the changes. So when you switch paddling from paddling on the right to paddling on the left, somebody does that, and you do it in a rhythm, every 25 to 30 or so paddles or so strokes, you call it out, right? So I was the person who did that. And I kept losing track, and I'd be, 44, 45, 46. And my teammates were like, stop, switch. And I kept forgetting to switch. Like my brain could not function. And I realized that as I had been ramping up my training, Protandim Nrf2 had been helping me all along, and I hadn't really realized it, but I had started it early on in the training. So I hadn't seen this big difference. So anyway, I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. So I start right back on it, and I was really happy I was able to do well in the race. I recovered well after my, really long paddle sessions. I felt good. It worked really well for me. And at the same time, I saw my dog not limp for the first time in a very long time. And so I thought, yep, I really feel like this is a good product. And I kind of launched it for my practice, and I, let everybody know this is what I'm going to start doing and everything. And I had several patients I'd been seeing for a long time go ahead and start on it. And it was interesting. So because we do chiropractic, we do acupuncture, we have a laser, we use Chinese herbs, we use a lot of supplements, those kinds of things. And so I'd been seeing some of these cases ongoing for quite a long time. And then I added in this Protandim Nrf2. For the older dog, or for the larger dogs, I tend to use the human product. For the smaller dogs, I'll use the Petandim. At the time, it's called Canine Health. And so I would use the Petandim for a dog that was up to about 60 pounds. I saw this difference. It was very interesting because some of these cases I'd been seeing for months or even years at a time. And then I added this in. And so I had a couple of neurologic cases that suddenly they seemed to be doing better. I saw a lot of arthritic cases. They seemed to be doing better. They just had more energy. They were able to move more. The biggest difference I see is in older dogs, when you start giving them Protandim Nrf2 or the Petandim, you just feel better. They have more energy. They're more willing to do more. They're more awake, those kinds of things. They're more interactive with the family. They're willing to play, all those things. And I could just see this huge difference. And so ever since then, I use it for dogs who are older, even if they're not arthritic. If they're older and they're starting to slow down, it's a perfect time. I'll use it for sport dogs to prevent injury and help them to recover from injury. I use it for all of my neurologic cases. And in all of those cases, I still do other things. I still do acupuncture. I still put them on Chinese herbs and things like that. But I can see a big difference when I add the Protandim or Protandim Nrf2 or the Petandim. I can see this big difference in just what I normally would see. So that's been my experience with it. As far as the business goes, that was very interesting. I didn't want to do the whole business thing in the beginning. I was like, oh God, multi-level marketing, all this stuff. And then I got into it and I started to see it. And my husband, here's the big thing. My husband is a business professor. He teaches at Kennesaw State University business, and I drug him along to one of the conferences, and he did some research. He looked into the company. He looked into network marketing. He did all kinds of things and really said, you know what? This is the wave of the future. He said, this is absolutely where business is going to go. He said, there's nothing wrong with this. He said that, all it is a different model, right? That, you think of, people say, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. You know what's the biggest pyramid scheme? Almost every company out there, right? You've got a CEO, and then you've got vice presidents, and then you've got, assistant vice presidents, and people under them, and people under them, and people under them, until you get down to the salespeople. And don't you think that everybody above those salespeople is taking some chunk of what the salespeople are making? It's no different, right? This is just a way to have the salesperson, in this case, like we don't like to talk about it like sales, but it allows the person to have their own business, and it's the cheapest business you could possibly get into. Let me tell you, $50 is a hell of a lot less than what I spent getting into Georgia Veterinary Rehabilitation. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to start that business. So for a $50 distributor pack, and then a gold pack or platinum pack for $600 or $1,200 to get your products and all this stuff and get going, is a heck of a lot less. It's a fast way to get into a business and get going and start working from home. And you can make as much as you want. You can, you're not stifled by anybody above you. So if the person above you isn't doing any work, but you're doing all the work, that's okay. You're going to make more money than the person above you. It's not set up differently than that. If you work hard, you'll make more money. If you don't work hard, you don't make as much, but you can still make money however you want to do it. So I love the products. So Protandim Nrf2 and Petandim are sort of what started it, but the hair care, the skin care, the Axio is amazing. I drink an Axio pretty much every day. That's a kind of they call it an energy drink, but I don't really like calling it that. It's more like a brain food kind of drink. It's a drink version of the Protandim Nrf2, and it tastes really, really good. So that's my story. Please contact me if you have any questions.